right, so the next topic coming up is a combination of and, or, and absolute value. So we're going to have a day to just kind of review those two things so we can put them together tomorrow. So as a review, remember a less than sandwich is when you have the X stuff in the middle and you're sandwiched between two numbers with less than symbols. And do you guys remember how to solve those? You draw a double wall and we try to get the X alone in the middle. But first on this one, we need to either distribute, or maybe a shortcut would be to divide by -2 right away to get the X starting to isolate. There's a couple ways to do this one. I'm going to divide every single piece by -2. So -6 divided by -2 is 3. I divided by a negative, so I am going to have to flip both symbols. Now it becomes this way, x plus 1, and now it flips to this way. 8 divided by 2 is -4. And then we're going to keep going. If we want to get x alone, we need to -1, -1, -1 from every piece. And we get 2 is greater than x is greater than or equal to -5. Now this looks a little weird. I like to rewrite it as a less than sandwich because we had that symbol flipping. Now the bigger numbers on the left and the smaller numbers on the right. So I'm just going to reverse everything. Put the smaller number first, the bigger number last, the X in the middle, and then make it a less than sandwich again. You don't have to do this. If you're okay with this, go for it. But this is the same thing. So either way, we want X to be sandwiched between closed circle at -5 and open circle at +2. So that's the sandwich. Works for both. And then the or is when you guys solve them separate. Okay, so we're going to draw our wall, +2, +2. You get 3x is greater than 9, and then divide by 3, x is greater than 3. And then you're going to do the other one totally separate. Draw the wall, -1, -1. You get -2x is greater than 8. Divide by -2, but we divided by a negative, so we have to flip the symbol. So we get x is less than -4. And then I'm going to write the word or, and that's our answer that we have to graph. So we need an open circle at 3, and greater is to the right. We need an open circle at -4, and less than is to the left. So remember the ors are off to the side. Okay, that was a review of some old and or stuff. Now a little review of absolute value, which we've just been doing, so you may not need to watch this. Always isolate first. So get the absolute value by itself. I always call that isolate. Oh my God, what am I writing here? Isolate. And then once you have it isolated, you write your two equations. You have the absolute value equal to the positive number, and you have the absolute value set equal to the negative version. And remember, you should always get two solutions unless there's no solution. So we'll try to do one of each of those. Okay, so number 1, isolate first, and let's see if we're going to have two solutions or none. Okay, so if you're trying to isolate, you guys should know by now we're going to add 4, add 4. We get -3, absolute value of x minus 5 equals -12. And don't stop yet, we have to isolate still by dividing by -3, dividing by -3. All right, so let's see what we got. Isolated, we have absolute value of x minus 5 equals 4. And 4 is positive, so we do need to keep going, and we are going to get two answers. So one of them is going to be x minus 5 equals positive 4, and the other one's going to be x minus 5 equals negative 4, because we got to get to the right and to the left. And then if you solve them both, those are your two answers. So add 5, one answer is x equals 9. Add 5, one answer is x equals 1. So 9 and 1. All right, let me try to find one that's no solution. Let's see, maybe there's more on the back. If we have any. Okay, let's try number 12. The rest of these, they're all the same after a while. All right, so if you're trying to isolate number 12, let's draw our line, draw our wall. First, we need to subtract the 2 over this 2. And we're left with negative 2, absolute value of 9a minus 3 equals 60. And then to further isolate, we need to divide both sides by negative 2. Divide both sides by negative 2. Okay, so those cancel. And now isolated, we have 9a minus 3 equals negative 30. And here's where you stop and say, uh-oh, absolute value cannot equal a negative. So I'm going to stop and say no solution. There's no way, no way. Okay, so that's it. If you want, if you're still watching, I could do one more. What's a hard one? Number 9 looks kind of crazy. So let's do one more if you want, but you could have stopped already. So number 9, it says solve absolute value. We are going to isolate first. So maybe you guys want to pause and try this one yourself. So if we're going to isolate, we need to add 6 to both sides first. Get them to cancel. And we have negative 5, absolute value of negative 10x minus 6 equals negative 30. And we're not isolated yet. We got to divide by negative 5, divide by negative 5 to fully isolate. And now we're left with absolute value, negative 10x minus 6 equals positive 6. We got to do it. So when it's equal to a positive number, we have to actually do it. So I'm just going to go over here. Our two equations are going to be negative 10x minus 6 equals positive 6. And then we have negative 10x minus 6 equals negative 6. Because we got to get the left and the right. And then you guys just solve both. So add 6, we get negative 10x equals 12. Divide by negative 10, divide by negative 10. If you reduce that, you get negative 6/5. And then this side, add 6, we get negative 10x equals 0. Divide by negative 10, divide by negative 10. Well, you guys know 0 divided by anything is just stays 0. So here are our two answers, negative 6/5 and 0. All right, and the rest, they're all the same if you want to try them. Thanks for watching the review.